We're here today as part of the 911 Dispatchers, as part of First Responders Tell Your Story series. And I am joined here as a special with a special guest, Ryan Dedmon of the 911 Institute. And we're here to talk about how he helped me and my efforts in the state of New Jersey to our bill A3804 from the bill to the law, which was signed January 18th, 2022. So in the process, you have to, the bill's introduced and then it gets assigned to committee, which that's where Ryan stepped in and gave us a hand here in New Jersey, because I reached out to him and asked for a letter of support.
Well, I have been a part of your dispatchers as part of First Responders group on Facebook that you and Jim Brown created in advocating the reclassification of dispatchers nationwide. And there's a lot of interesting chatter in that group by people throughout the country who are advocating this effort in their respective region or state. And I can't remember if it was a personal conversation you and I had, or I just saw something you posted in that group about the work that you were doing in the state of New Jersey. And, it just occurred to me that if it would help in your personal efforts in your state to have some type of advocacy letter from us supporting that bill, then I was happy to do so. So I myself am a retired police dispatcher. So I wore a headset and sat at a console for about 10 years in the state of California. So I get it. And so I was happy to write a letter of support, kind of briefly describing the duties and responsibilities of a dispatcher and why that should classify dispatchers, call takers, communications officers, telecommunicators, and any other title that we give our personnel that work in primary PSAPs answering 911 calls, why those folks, regardless of job title, should be classified as first responder.
Awesome. And I think, I personally went to the committee with my years of experience and my own point of view as to why. And I think it was really helpful to be able to, mention and point to your letter coming from a well-respected and recognized 911 training group such as the 911 Institute. I really think that was helpful.
I am at your service. So as a former dispatcher, my heart also lies with the goal of reclassifying dispatchers as first responders, because that's what I did for so many years. But now in the private sector of 911, the 911 Training Institute, we specialize in mental health and stress resilience for dispatchers. And we know that dispatchers so often feel devalued, for lack of a better term, because of this misclassification. And so whatever work that we can do to help individuals or agencies or government officials who are championing this work in their respective states, it is our delight to assist. And if I, we briefly talked, but if I bring up your map here for a second, there we go.
There you go. Yeah.
So this is the map, right? The map you have up in your group on Facebook showing the states that have or are in process of working on this effort.
That's correct. So the green states, one of the other administrators, Rebecca McLeese, developed this map, and it's so awesome. If you go back through our media section, you'll see the amount of gray. It was pretty much the entire map was gray in 2019, and to now you see it's a sea of color, and I'm extremely excited to see all that green, because green is the color that Rebecca chose to show states that have a law that has reclassified us or recognized our profession as a first responder profession. The blue are states with proposals or bills in this different stages of going through their state house. And again, if we're missing any, this is another reason why we're doing this, is to ask for input, because we rely on our members to share what they're doing with us, so we can share it with the rest of the membership. So if there's any states out there that should be in blue, let us know. The green, the lighter green with the black lines through it, those are House resolutions. So that's the state house in their states, Montana and Georgia, either a joint house or a single house of their state legislation wrote a House resolution declaring their dispatchers as first responders, and that's a great achievement as well. The yellow states that you see have passed laws related to post-traumatic stress disorder or injury, to give us additional access to individuals like yourself that would help us in times of need. If we're affected in that kind of way by the performance of our duties. And
so that PTSD legislation includes dispatchers then?
Yes, that's, or specifically for them.
Okay.
Depending on the state. So it may be like if there was a bill on the table for the other responders, where dispatchers are included in that bill, or there may be a state. I'd have to go back and read the specific bills. There may be a bill that was passed specifically that for dispatchers in mind, with dispatchers in mind. And then the purple, those are states that have counties within the state that have done like a county proclamation or some type of declaration declaring their dispatchers within the county confines of their county as first responders. And I think that's an achievement as well, because Jim Brown, one of the original founding members of our page, they went county by county until they got enough counties to do it, that they took that support and that information and then approached their legislators. So there's many different ways to approach this. You have to figure out what one might work in your state. And Ryan, if you would share with our group what information you're looking for before you'd be willing to write them that type of letter that we're speaking on.
Yeah, well, and prior to me doing that, let me give a shameless shout out to the state of California, which is where I live. And I know in 2020, leaders from the California chapter of NINA were working with our state government officials and to support advocacy efforts in my home state. And then President Don Jones of Cal NINA worked with government officials in our state to get that done. So, it means a lot. And even though I obviously am not a working dispatcher anymore, it means a lot, even as a former retired dispatcher, that now, the people like you who still currently do the frontline work are being recognized as such. And so if you're working on this effort in your home state, I'm more than happy to come alongside and support you. I think some important information would be to know the title of the legislation that is currently traveling through different levels of the process through your state or county, and then maybe a primary point of contact. I think it does better justice to address these types of letters to the respective committee or individuals or the authors who are championing the effort, as opposed to just blindly writing as if it looks like it came from a blank template kind of thing. I think it has more meaning and it has more power and it personalizes things more for dispatchers in that state. So that would be some important information to have and take into consideration as you are working with leaders in your respective state to champion this effort. That's what we would probably request to come alongside and support your work.
Yes, I do recall that we had a couple email exchanges when I was asking you for your assistance, and committee chairman's information, Chairman Telefero. And so you wrote directly to him, and I would agree with you, Ryan. I think that is more impactful than in a correspondence with him, where here it came directly from you and your organization to his office.
Right. And, just remember that what we would offer is a letter of support or recommendation, for lack of a better term. There's a lot of other things now in place that can strategically help you get the ball rolling, if you will, in your state. And I believe our friends Sarah Weston and Halcyon Frank from 911 Wonder Woman have been very involved in developing I believe what they call a toolkit.
Absolutely. I do appreciate their work, and I think we have shared it here on our page, and it's at the 901.gov website that you'd be able to look that information up. And yeah, I mean, our group is about really it's a depository of where others have succeeded. So for individuals who are considering starting a campaign in your own home state, you're not like oh, I don't know, what do I do? No one's ever done this before. Yes, others have. Now come to us, take a look at our media and our file sections so you can get ideas about how to write the letters. Go to the 901.gov website to look up the toolkit, review that. Also, we do have several members from NINA and APCA that belong to our page. So a lot of chapters are forming government relations committees, or in APCO, it's called the Pro Chart. So I would like to encourage our members to consider looking in to see if your local chapter has a Pro Chart committee, or if your NINA chapter has a government relations committee, and consider joining it and getting involved with it so that you can help go through the process. Yeah, and we talked to Desi from Northern California APCO, and he was in a part of that effort for your home state of California. So APCO, NINA, they're separate organizations, but they do tend to work well together when there's a common goal to get things to better our profession.
Right. I think they work really well together, especially undertaking a massive movement like this. And I think it's just important for the people in your group here to remember that there's strategic things that you have to do in order to accomplish this. And it has to be more than just, posting on social media and generating that hoorah, hoorah feeling, because the feeling fizzles off. And, our government leaders need more evidence of what your duties and responsibilities are that would require reclassification, as just opposed to us shouting from the mountaintops that that's what we want and that's how it should be. So having the tools in place and letters of support from various organizations in place, all of that amounted together and then strategically presented to the right people is what is going to accomplish this in your home state.
Absolutely. I couldn't say it better. It takes in the choir, there's the different sections, there's the altones, the bass, and, it takes the whole group to make the beautiful music. But without someone directing it and without members partaking in it, there's no choir and there's no music to be made. So, come out of the audience, join the choir, be the conductor in your state, and get the ball rolling, and do it by using all this information that we've gathered here, and that's accessible if you are a member of NINA or APCO. There's information out there on both, within both organizations. Start reaching out and get going. Start doing it. Let's join the many colors of green that we have here. Let's make the map completely green, so that we all can enjoy this. I mean, Ryan, you brought up a point earlier that was great. One of the best feelings that I got after our bill in New Jersey was passed was hearing from the retired members that used to work with me, or worked in other areas of the state, but contacted me and saying, wow, I never thought this would be a thing. Like, I really didn't think it was going to actually happen. So thank you for all your efforts. And I'm like, well, you're welcome, because you guys are the ones I did it for, including the future. How awesome will it be for the future dispatchers that are, and then the current dispatchers that are in year 1, year 2 in their career, where they won't have that feeling of.
And I think it's being smart about how all of that is articulated and then presented. And the 911 Training Institute, we are only one private partner in the private sector of the 911 industry. There are plenty of other private businesses and corporations and consulting companies in the private sector of the 911 industry who would probably also be eager to offer their assistance and whatever they can do to help your efforts as well.
That's awesome. That's a very good point to make, and one to share. Think about the training agencies and the different resources available within your own state that could also render assistance in your efforts, in addition to Ryan and the 911 Institute. Absolutely. That's a great point to make.
Well, anything that we can do for anyone, we're entirely at their service.
I appreciate that. And I really thank you for your time this afternoon. And is there any contact information you'd like to share, or anything else that you'd like to share with the members as far as the legislative process with the bill?
Sure. People can contact the 911 Training Institute at our website, which is 911training.net. And all of our contact information, as well as social media platform connections, are listed on our website that you can find there. I think I would like to personally thank you and also Jim Brown for the leadership that you guys offer to everyone in the group, whether they're officially seeking to do this in their home state or not, and they're just part of the group. Your leadership and resource has been invaluable, and obviously helping turn those states green. So carry on, sir.
Well, I will thank you on behalf of Jim Brown, and I personally want to thank you and Jim and your organization for all the work that you're doing across the 911 spectrum. It is truly appreciated, and yes, again, the best feeling came from hearing from others and how it made them feel to know that by law they are in fact first responders. It really does make a difference.
Yeah, well, let's turn that map green, sir.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Pleasure.